Hello and welcome once again to another episode of the Caden Eric Show podcast. So there was a lot of crap to deal with. There's a lot of things to go through here. Of course, you have all the little Hamas holes all over the country, spreading their wants and demands and camping out and causing mayhem and destruction and violence. You know, it's interesting. The left always sits there and accuses the right of all these things, of, insurrections, violence, bribes, whatever. But it's everything that they say that the right is doing, they're doing themselves. So it's, yeah. So we'll have that. We have more on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, their war. And then I've got the Trump trial here with Stormy Daniels. And some very interesting clips here, some very interesting things from Vivek Ramaswamy, who obviously was in the running for president, and then Doug Burgum, who's the governor of California or South Dakota, and then just some others. So there's a lot of that to get to. But first, like always, let's do sports. Do a little sports, a little fun, and then we'll get into the awfulness and the death and mayhem and destruction that's happening right before our very eyes. So, baseball. Let's do a little baseball, and then we'll get into some hockey, because that's actually been quite fun and very exciting to sit there and watch that. The Astros are still kind of struggling. They're not in last place anymore, so that's great. First of all, let me thank everybody who listens, and happy Mother's Day on Sunday. Last Sunday. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there, and just the women, not the men who think they're women and identify as mothers. No, that's not your day. I'm sure there's a mental awareness day for you, but yes. So happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. Hopefully everybody had a great Mother's Day. There's a store that came into our area called H-E-B. It's all over in the southern part of Texas and other places. It's a great grocery store. If you haven't been there, please go there. So we went there. Me and my wife were just walking around. They're all over Houston, so I was very familiar with H-E-B. And so one decided to come here to our little neck of the woods here in DFW, and so we went there. It was packed like crazy, like kind of expected. It's been there for about a month or so, month and a half, maybe 2 months, and it was just packed. So we got a lot of nice things, and that for her for Mother's Day. And it was a great day to just sit there and relax. We went to church. We have to celebrate mothers at church, and so happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there, and thank you for what you do in helping to raise your children, because that is the most important job on the planet. All these other jobs, that doesn't really matter all that much. They're great knowledge. It's great things to know, but a week after you're gone, the company's posting another job opening, and about after a month, everybody's kind of forgotten about you and they've moved on with their lives. But being a mother is forever. And I would say it's the most important job on the planet. Taking care of children, raising the next generation is super important. Hence why we're sort of in this situation. And I'm not blaming mothers, and I'm blaming women, I'm blaming all of us for this, is that we have taken parents out of our children's lives, put them into a school system for 8+ hours a day, and then when they're told that they get participation trophies and that they can go behind their parents' back because they identify as a cat, or a dude identifies as a girl and wants to go in the girls' locker room, and that's just fine. And that, the teachers and the counselors will go in with them and be just fine with that, and the parents are the bad guys. So thank you very much to you mothers. So let's get Astros. They're doing a bit better. They're doing better. It's a long season. I mean, we're halfway through May already, and hopefully they'll be able to get some things turned around. They're not playing as good of teams this year or this month as last month. So hopefully that'll get turned around. So with hockey, I started watching the Stars, and they're up 3-1 on Colorado. So they play again tonight, and hopefully they win that and move on to the Western Conference Finals again. So that will be great. And speaking of sports, I want to play this clip here. The Kansas City Chiefs kicker, and just what he did a commencement speech. I don't remember what the university is, a Kansas college, but this is what he had to say, and it was very interesting.
And poor leadership have negatively impacted major life issues. Our own nation is led by a man who publicly and proudly proclaims his Catholic faith, but at the same time is delusional enough to make the sign of the cross during a pro-abortion rally.
Yeah, so obviously he was there talking about Biden and how he's really bad for the country. And, Biden sits there and claims to be Catholic and then will sit there and support abortions completely. When that goes against what Catholicism believes. Yeah, so anyway, so it's great. If you have a chance, go look up his speech. It was very refreshing to sit there and listen to that. He also talked about the importance of mothers and taking care of your children, and just a bunch of different things. So great job. So I haven't really touched a whole lot about the Stormy Daniels case, and I'll get to that here because there's a whole bunch of different clips and things to get to here. We had a bunch of different people coming to New York with Trump and just standing there, just listening to the trial and everything. And they gave probably, because he's on this gag order, he can't say anything with this corrupt judge whose daughter is making money off of what's going on. And Vivek will get into that and explain all that here in a little bit. But yeah. So let's get to the little Hamas holes that are all over the country. Because they're just so funny. They're just hilarious, aren't they? Sitting there calling for intifadas and death to America and death to Israel. It's just great. That's just an amazing thing to say when you sit there and you talk about how saying death to wherever it is that you live. And I don't understand that either. If you'd hate this country so much, there are almost 200 countries on the planet that you can go to and live somewhere else. You don't have to live here in America if you hate it so much. I have mentioned this many times. I do not like the cold, and I hate it. I don't live in a place where it is cold. I mean, here in Texas, it does get a little chilly, maybe for a few days in the winter, maybe a week, and then it's not. So, although we seem to have had ice and snow the last several years. It's all that global warming and all that. But yes, I do not live I used to live in Minnesota, and I want to get to some things here in Minnesota because they changed their state flag, and it's very interesting. It looks very much like a Somalian flags from their states and their cities. So, yeah, and then it's interesting that Ilham Omar, who is from Somalia, and a few episodes back, maybe a month or two ago, she gave a speech where she called and said, hey, Somalians, don't worry. We're going to use the American system to benefit Somalia. So it's no wonder that Minnesota changed their state flag to look more like a Somalian flag. And when I lived there with my kids and my ex-wife, it was very weird to sit there and think and sit there and look around, and there's a lot of Muslims up there, and I'm like, it's freaking cold up here, and it sucks. Why are you living here? This is completely different from where you used to live. Maybe they wanted some cold and some ice and some snow for half the year. But yeah, it's a very weird thing. I don't understand all that. Why they all seem to be living up there in Rochester, Minnesota, the home of the Mayo Clinic. Basically, they're treated like royalty up there. The Mayo Clinic, which is a great hospital system. But yeah, it's just kind of funny that they're treated so well. But so let's just get into this stuff here with Minnesota, since that's what I'm talking about here at the very moment. But the polls for Minnesota right now, and Trump is leading in the polls in every one of the swing states, the battleground states, except for Wisconsin. He's only down by 2. Nevada, he's up by 12. So that is fantastic. And then we'll get into the Hamas whole stuff here. But the Minnesota presidential race, Donald Trump is only losing by 2 points. 2 points. Biden leads 49-36 among women. So Trump leads 47-39 among men. I'm always amazed. Why is it that women are constantly voting for Democrats? What is the deal with that? If somebody would let me know, that would be great. You can message me on X, Facebook, TikTok, True Social, or YouTube, Kate and Eric Show on all of those. So please like, subscribe, follow, and share. That would be great, because then everybody will be able to see that. So I don't understand that. I don't understand why women vote Democrat when they don't like anybody. So, and then they're tied among independents, 36. So if found guilty in the New York trial, Trump supporters, 88% would still vote for Trump, 0 would switch to Biden, and then the remaining percentage would switch to another party, or there's 6% that are like, oh, I don't know. I mean, come on, it's not that hard of a question. So Biden leads in the Twin Cities, 50-35. Trump leads in southern Minnesota. Trump leads in western Minnesota. And then he also leads in the Northeast. It's these stupid major cities that are messing everything up for everybody else. So stop it. But yeah. So it's just interesting that Minnesota has gone that direction and fully embraced this Palestinian nonsense and Somalian nonsense. So I want to get to a clip here from President or Prime Minister, whatever his title is, Benjamin Netanyahu, because they're going into Rafah despite the fact that Biden and all of his brilliance and knowledge and cognition said that they shouldn't. And in fact, last week, he threatened to, and I believe he did, cut military supplies to Israel so they wouldn't be able to continue the fight, because the Biden administration says that they know exactly how these bombs and these missiles are being used, despite the fact that they've sent hundreds of billions of dollars worth of money and equipment to Ukraine and don't have a damn clue what they're doing with their stuff, but they know exactly what's going on in Israel. And in order to pander to the extreme terrorist left of their voting base, they're trying to stay face with them, along with the Jews that also vote Democrat, which I don't understand that either. I mean, I think a lot of them are waking up. A lot of these blue cities and states are waking up to the fact that Democrats aren't your friend, never have been, and never will be. So, here is what Benjamin Netanyahu had to say.
In this war, we must destroy the remaining Hamas battalions in Rafah. If not, Hamas will regroup, rearm, and reconquer Gaza. And then we're back to square one. And that's an intolerable threat that we cannot accept. We will finish the job in Rafah while enabling the civilian population to get out of harm's way. We've taken measures to minimize civilian casualties that no other army has taken in history.
Now that is for sure. They have basically told them time of day and exactly where the crap they're going to bomb so that there aren't civilian, there's going to be civilian casualties in a war. That's just how it is. I mean, could you imagine a World War II? We're sitting there announcing to the Germans, oh, okay, so we're going to bomb Dresden, we're going to bomb Berlin, we're going to bomb, name whatever city here, we're going to... D-Day, can you imagine that? We're going to say, okay, Hitler, we're going to We're going to attack Omaha Beach, Utah Beach, all the other beaches. This is the time of day we're going to attack. So all the civilians that might be in that area, please leave. I mean, I don't think there were civilians on D-Day, but the English, and I don't know if we had a hand in it as well, bombed the crap out of German cities. And they weren't precision laser-guided missiles or bombs. They just carpet bombed the crap out of places, destroying anything and anything and anybody. And Israel, on the other hand, is told you have to kind of rein it in, even though you had an attack that was worse contrastly to us than 9/11. The 12 to 1,300, 1,100 people that were brutally, viciously slaughtered on October 7th. Yeah, you have to kind of watch what you're going to do here. I mean, they had the equivalent of 50 to 55,000 Americans killed on a single day. Yeah, if you compare the populations. So it's astounding. It is just absolutely astounding. So I want to play this is from, I believe, some of their IDF soldiers, where she's kind of going through and the different things that the Hamas and the Palestinians did and said to these Israelis as they attacked them on October 7th.
Put your hands up and spread your legs. Take your clothes off. Take your pants off. Lay down. Do not speak. Shut up. Fast. Do not make problems. Get up. Calm down. You're a hostage. I will kill you. To prepare for the October 7th massacre, Hamas terrorists were given a translation sheet. The sheet contained a list of words and sentences for the terrorists to use with the civilians, specifically the ones they took hostage. These are just some of those sentences. The IDF has been operating every single day, women and men shoulder to shoulder, to make sure no woman has to face mass terrorists and hear those words ever again. Now more than ever, as the world commemorates International Women's Day, we cannot forget the atrocities committed against women on October 7th. Fight for women. Fight with us.
So, yeah, that's the things that they were taught. That's the thing. I guess I didn't realize that they spoke different languages. I don't know. I was unaware of that. But, so that's the things that they were told. Those poor women and people, that's the things that they were told by the lovely, the peace-loving Hamas and Palestinians that decided to join Hamas in that brutal attack. And then you think, here in America, that's not, we wouldn't support that. We wouldn't support terrorism. We stand up to terrorism. We don't deal with terrorists, right? Well, this is at DePaul University, which is located in the United States. This is what was chanted there.
October 7th, motherfucker! God bless Hamas!
Yeah, so October 7th, MFers. And yeah, then at the end there, God bless Hamas. Yeah, I don't think so. He doesn't call for those types of things to go in and just slaughter people like that. And you think, well, he did it in the Bible. Yeah, that was a little bit different of a situation. Joshua and the others, they were prophets of God. Hamas isn't a prophet of God. Their leaderships aren't prophets. And so it's not the same thing whatsoever. But that's what's being chanted across the United States is death to America, Intifada revolution. And there's another lady in New York. Their faces are all covered too. They're a bunch of freaking cowards. Their faces are covered with masks or those picnic table cloth things. I don't know what they are. And quite frankly, I don't really care what they are, but they look like picnic tablecloths, the white ones, and I think there's red ones. So we'll call them a picnic tablecloth. And they cover their faces because they're cowards. Yeah. There was a guy that came in the gym a number of weeks ago, maybe a month or two ago, and he had a shirt on that had one of those guys, the Palestinian guys on his shirt, and his face was covered, and I wanted so bad to go up to him and be like, those guys are cowards, right? Yeah, I mean, they went in and they attacked a whole bunch of women and children and old people and butchered, raped, and murdered them. But they're tough guys because they have a mask on their face. So yeah, it's going on all over the place. Colombia is a disaster. That the name of the hall is escaping me right now, but the one that they barricaded themselves into, that the NYPD had to go in with like some tank thing. It wasn't a tank, but it looked like a tank. A Batman sort of vehicle. They had to go in there up to the the second level and bust in a window and break it all up. And yeah, they had hostages in there, the Hamas holes. They had some janitors in there. They were just probably in there just doing their job. Hey, it's, whatever, Tuesday evening, we got to go in there and clean this building. And, they're just doing their jobs. And they're like, oh, man, we've got a bunch of masked cowards coming in here, destroying things. And, so they were held hostage for a period of time before I don't know if they escaped or let go. But, yeah. But at a rally, here is what Trump had to say at a rally here in the last few weeks.
Not allow our colleges to be taken over by violent radicals. And if you come here from another country and try to bring jihadism or anti-Americanism or anti-Semitism to our campuses, we will immediately deport you. You'll be out of that school.
Hope so, because this is absolutely, I mean, the graduations that were held around, there was one at Duke where Jerry Seinfeld, who is a Jew, was the commencement speaker, and a bunch of these little idiots, these little darlings, decided, hey, you know what, we're going to get up and we're going to walk out because Jerry Seinfeld's a Jew and he's going to be speaking. So they did. Here in freaking Texas, there were some that they clamped down. They didn't have, the little tents provided by George Soros here like the other places in New York and California and others. But at their graduations, some of them were holding up a Palestinian flag. There was one douchebag that was holding up the flag. And the presenter or whoever gives out the diplomas was like, all right, dude, let's move on. He's like, no, I'm not going to move on. I'm going to stand up here with my flag because I believe in Palestine. Then go over there and fight. Go over there. We'll buy you a one-way flight to Gaza, and you can go there, and you can help them out. Okay? Okay. And in Colombia, these little darlings, there's a bunch of them. They came up with some Palestinian flags. Look like they've been laminated or taped with that clear packing tape. One of them, a bunch of them had their hands zip tied because they're so oppressed, and they can't voice their opinions, these participation trophy kids. And so she got up there, her hands were zip tied. They did it to themselves, by the way. It wasn't anybody who did it to them, they did it to themselves. And yeah, so she's had her hands zip tied, and she took her diploma from the guy and then just ripped it up like Nancy Pelosi did to Trump's State of the Union speech. And I'm thinking, what is that supposed to do? What are you trying to prove there? The university already received the money that you paid them. They don't give a crap if you rip up your diploma that you spent tens of thousands of dollars on. They don't care. So good job. You decided to rip up your diploma and protest for terrorists. So congratulations there, you useless idiots. Oh, it's just so frustrating. I'm sick of talking about these people, but more people need to understand who these useless idiots really are. These lemmings that don't have a clue as to what is really going on. It's just lovely. It's just so amazing. So freaking frustrating. It's so maddening. I do want to play this one thing here from Representative Brian Mast. He was ambushed. Well, not really ambushed, by Code Pink. The Code Pink people, they're the ones that are out there, for the Hamas holes and for terrorists. So here's a little run-in the hallways, the corridors of the Capitol building, and their interaction.
Hamas has agreed to a ceasefire. Do you think Israel should agree?
I think Israel should go in there and kick the shit out of them. Just absolutely destroy them.
Amen.
Their infrastructure, level anything that they touch. Clear enough?
Congressman, the world is calling for a ceasefire. You used to say
Anybody in the
Hamas
world
won't agree to a ceasefire. Hamas had just agreed. It was a proposal put forward by Egypt, Qatar. CIA Director William Burns has been there negotiating.
If there's an American held or somebody else being held, there should be every expectation that Americans come and kill them as well. If there's an American being held, we should go kill the people that are holding them.
Why are you so hateful?
It's not hateful.
It is, because my people are Palestinian. You're killing my people with our tax dollars. And you saying that everything
They should associate themselves with terrorists. They shouldn't vote terrorists into office.
Yep.
Hamas.
Israel is the terrorist.
Israel is the
Israel is the terrorist.
Israel is the terrorist.
Lions Den, Fatah, all those terrorist
We
organizations.
say to you every single time, majority of people are children. They're the ones that are bearing the brunt.
Just because you say it doesn't make it true, which is what you constantly.
It's children.
Let me say this very clearly. I literally don't believe a word that you say.
Well, I think that you are a heartless, soulless, cruel man. And today is Holocaust
From you,
Remembrance Day.
I'll
For
take
my
it as a
people,
compliment.
That's the guy that served in the U.S. military and in the Israeli military. So, yeah. I love that. They should go in there and just kick the shiz out of them. And then, of course, you have the one recording, because there's a couple of them doing that, coming up to him, and, the one like, oh, Israel's a terrorist. So there's a little thing here. If Israel laid down their arms and surrendered, there would be no Israel. Okay? If Hamas and the other terrorists around them would lay down their weapons of war and their arms, there would be peace. There was peace October 6th and the prior days to Hamas and the Palestinians attacking Israel in the first place. It's just astounding. They're the aggressors. They're the ones that committed these atrocities, and now they're the victims? That crap doesn't make sense whatsoever. And then you have, I never thought I'd ever see the day where Americans or people that live here in America would be supporting terrorists after I watched 9/11 happen and the World Trade Center collapse. I never thought I'd see this day. I never ever thought I would see America where you have groups of these pro-terrorists raising a foreign flag in our own country. Daily Plaza, Chicago, they did that. They raised a huge Palestinian flag higher than an American flag. Chicago, Illinois. Last time I checked, Illinois was nowhere near the Middle East. But, yeah, that's what's going on in our cities and our college campuses across the nation. So, thank you, liberalism. Because, it's frustrating. It's very, very frustrating. And then, yes. They're just awful, awful people. So let's talk about something else. Kathy Hochul, the lovely governor of New York, she had this to say last week about minorities in her state there, the lovely state of New York, which, besides the city of New York City, and people are changing, people are waking up, because Trump held a rally in New Jersey that had 80 to 100,000 people there. 80 to 100,000 people. New Jersey. It wasn't in the Carolinas. It wasn't here in Texas. It wasn't in any of the red state. It was in a massive blue state called New Jersey, which is right next door to New York. If you're unfamiliar with geography in America, I always get kind of irritated when I see online like, oh, Americans don't know anything about geography. Because we can't name where freaking Latvia is. I guarantee most of the people don't have any idea where Ukraine is on the map. They couldn't sit there and point out, be like, there it is right there. But our states are the size of your countries, so you can just zip it. But anyway, so yeah, Trump held a massive rally of between 80, and this is from a city. This isn't from him being like, hey, yeah, we had 80,000 people here. No, that's coming from the city themselves. City officials say 80 to 100,000 people. And it is they do a nice 360 view of it prior to the event even starting. And the crowd is massive. It is very fun. It's very exciting to see that. In New Jersey. Oh, if he can somehow flip New Jersey or New York, because New Yorkers are sick and tired of it as well. There's a couple that I'm friends with, a lot of people at the gym that I only see at the gym, and that's it. That's just kind of our little social group there. And she's from New York, and she says people in New York are pissed. There's a guy, I don't have the clip. I'll do that next week. But there's a guy, he looks like some kind of union worker, some blue collar guy. And the reporters asked, do you have something to say to Joe Biden? And he says, yeah, F you. Things are changing because people see it. People see just the political prosecution of Trump that is going on. They see how Democrats and liberals are trying to destroy the nation, the very foundations on which we are built upon. That's what they're trying to do. So anyway, this is what the lovely governor that, when that officer was killed, she got kicked out of the house, or kicked out of the funeral home where the funeral was happening from that officer that was killed by criminals. Yeah, so this is just to show you Democrats are so freaking awful that this is what she had to say.
Black kids growing up in the Bronx who don't even know what the word a computer is. They don't know. They don't know these things. And I want the world open up to all of them, because when you have their diverse voices innovating solutions through technology, then you're really addressing society's broader challenges.
Did you get that? Here, let's play the beginning part once.
Young black kids growing up in the Bronx who don't even know what the word a computer is. They don't know. They don't know these things. And
young black kids growing up in the Bronx don't know what the word computer is. She's just flat out said that, and she's serious. She is dead serious. Because then she goes on. Young black kids don't live growing up in the Bronx. Apparently, they don't know what the word computer is. Okay. Are they back in time in like 1700 where they don't have any idea what a computer is? But Trump's the racist. Republicans are the racists, even though Republicans, the party, and I don't trust to put my faith in them either, because they can't seem to get their crap together either. But it was founded to provide freedom to the slaves, freedom during the civil rights movement in the 60s. But, yeah, Republicans and Trump are the racists, is what they'll say all day long. But, yeah, there you go. There's Kathy Hochul, the governor of New York. So congratulations, New York. You voted in a good one. But, yeah, it's just amazing. It's astounding that they get away with this. So the Stormy Daniels trial, I haven't really spoken much about it because I was trying to sit there and understand what exactly that they're trying him for. What is the crime that he supposedly committed, right? What is the heinous crime that Donald Trump committed here with Stormy Daniels? Who, if you're unfamiliar, I didn't know who she was until this. Apparently she's a porn star. So that's the nice way of saying she's a hooker, right? So apparently back in 2006, right? The thing is that she had an affair, supposedly. He's denied it. Trump's denied it. And so did she at some point. A few years ago, not that long ago, she denied it. And then all of a sudden now, it's, no, her story's changed a little bit. That, yeah, he didn't rape her is what she said originally. There was no, anyway. So this, the whole thing is, and they're not even sure what, I've never seen anything concrete as to what it is. Because, with the E. Jean Carroll thing, it was a rape or whatever like that very much doubt that happened as well because her story changed. And she couldn't remember the exact date. She was all excited about getting all the millions. She was going to go on a spending spree. She went on Anderson Cooper and said how rape was sexy and then proceeded to flirt with Anderson Cooper afterwards, saying that rape was sexy. And he was like, no. She was like, most people think rape is sexy. He was like, no, most people don't think that. And her little scenario was a Law and Order episode. So there's that. And then there was the whole, him inflating his numbers that Letitia James and that doofus-faced judge went after him for, when there was no victim in that supposed crime, where the judge ruled that he had to pay like $500 million, and it went down to like his bail was set at like $1 million and some, or $100 million or whatever it was. When the banks say that, the banks didn't come out and say, hey, he cheated us with this and X amount of money, he inflated his numbers and it wasn't right and we weren't paid the same the amount. So that didn't happen. Nobody came out and said, hey, he did something wrong here. He inflated his, the value of his properties. So what? People have done that all the time. And so, yeah, there was no victim there because the banks all got their money back, all with interest included, on time. But there, so there was nothing wrong there. It was just political shenanigans. So this one with the Stormy Daniels thing, I've really tried to understand this, and everything that I've listened to on the news or read, I just cannot seem to understand what it is they're trying to charge him with. And I don't think anybody really knows what they're trying to charge him with, because none of it makes any sense. So here, let me play this Bill Maher clip where Stormy Daniels was on Bill Maher's show, and just what she said there.
First, I asked her why she had sex with Trump. Listen to that, and then listen to what she says after that, and then we're going to talk about the trial, because it's quite at variance of what she said to me in 2018. Why did you Donald Trump? Okay, but you say it's not a Me Too case.
It is not a Me Too case. I mean, I wasn't assaulted. I wasn't attacked or raped or coerced or blackmailed. They tried to shove me in the Me Too box to further their own agenda. And first of all, I didn't want any part of that because it's not the truth, and I'm not a victim in that regard.
That's not what she's saying now. She's talking about he was bigger and blocking the way. It's all the Me Too buzzwords. She said there was a power imbalance of power, for sure. My hands were shaking so hard. She said she blacked out. Blacked out? She's a porn star. I don't think sex...
That doesn't mean she's been subjected to the likes of Donald Trump.
So anyway, yeah, so I wanted to stop it there because there's an article here that I want to talk about here because yes. So she just said, that it didn't happen. He's said it doesn't happen. So she was paid $130,000 for her silence. Just a little bit about her. Her real name is Stephanie Clifford. She has been a stripper, appearing in pornographic videos after an impoverished childhood in Baton Rouge, where her single mother would sometimes disappear for days at a time. Well, that's sad, so she decided to have sex with any be paid for sex. She found success in adult entertainment as a performer in videos and behind the camera, winning 11 Industry Best Director Awards and 2 Best Screenplay Awards. Oh, I'm sorry. I've been so on TikTok. I found like a Lord of the Rings side of it, and I've been watching all the win their Oscars and how those movies are just amazing. So just to sit there and compare that she won 11 Industry Best Director Awards and 2 Best Screenplay Awards for what? What sort of amazing things was done in that with those movies? So, yeah. So that's her background. So she's won awards for her work as a porn star and director of porn. And so she said, like he said there, she said she blacked out, right? She said at one point he went to the bathroom. She went to the bathroom, excuse me. She returned. Trump was sitting on the bed in his underwear. He tried. There was an imbalance of power, but like you just heard her on Bill Maher's show, that it wasn't like that at all. She said she blacked out briefly, though she had not used drugs or alcohol, and woke up on the bed with most of her clothes and her shoes off, but her bra still on. Oh, okay. You directed this crap, and then all of a sudden you're just going to black out because that's Donald Trump? Come on. Give me a break there, honey. No. Sorry, but no. I just don't believe it. But so here is what a bunch of. So I want to play this part of this here from Vivek after them. Him and some others went to the trial, and I'm sure it was like, hey, can you guys speak? Because I can't speak because the judge will, I have a gag order here, and the jump's going to fine me. Or the judge is going to find me. They've threatened jail time for him. So this is some of the things they had to say on that. And some.
I want to thank my colleagues, Governor Burgum, Congressman Mills, and Congressman Donalds for laying out the political backdrop here. This is a politicized persecution that is nakedly apparent. What I want to do is dive a little bit deeper into what we actually learned today in that courtroom. What do we see in there? First of all, I learned a lot from being in there in person. It is one of the most depressing places I have been in my life, but it is fitting because the only thing more depressing than the environment of that courtroom is what's actually happening in there. It's straight out of a Kafka novel. The prosecution's main strategy appears to be to bore the jurors into submission. And if you look in that direction, sadly, it may appear to actually be working. Now, I would like for anybody here in the press, anybody at home, anybody in MSNBC or the media afterwards, to clearly state what exactly is the crime that Donald Trump committed. Oh, wait, We have not heard a good answer to that question. It has been vague until today. You heard Michael Cohen's testimony, after which I would say it is less clear than ever what that crime actually was. They'll say falsifying business records. Well, let's look at who did we learn falsified business records today? Yet, what, hour, 2 hours, felt like it could have been 7 hours, of Michael Cohen talking about how he falsified business records. Okay, so you have a guy who has been a perjurer in the past that is now saying he falsified business records. What is the crime that Donald Trump committed? Now, it appears to be what they might allege is some sort of bookkeeping error or whatever. The real bookkeeping that we need accounting of is Judge Merchan's own family member collecting millions of dollars as a Democratic operative, using the existence of this trial as a fundraising ploy for Democrats. This is unconscionable. Imagine if the same shoe fit the other foot. Imagine if it was Joe Biden that was on trial. You had a Republican judge whose son was collecting millions of dollars as a Republican operative. What would you all be saying? This would not be justice. This is injustice at its worst. So let's go even a layer deeper, right? Because let's go even a layer deeper, actually. The alleged crime here is supposedly, they try to point to this every day, that he does not actually use campaign funds, that he used personal funds. Well, let's get this straight. Suppose Donald Trump had used campaign funds to make a personal expense. They'd be going after him for that. So if they're going to get him going or they're going to get him coming, that is the best proof that this is a politicized sham. Let's go through it piece by piece. If you tell somebody to go buy you a suit and you want to look good on television because that'll affect the voters, the way voters vote for you, you know what? They prosecute politicians if they use campaign funds to buy a suit. If they say, go get a haircut, if you use campaign funds to get a haircut because you want to look good to the voters, they will actually prosecute you for using campaign funds for a personal expense. Yet the entire legal theory of this case, the whole case that Alvin Bragg has brought, depends on one premise for them to charge this as a felony, is that Donald Trump somehow should have used campaign funds to make an allegedly personal payment. Yet if he had done that, their case against him would be even stronger. This is garbage. That is the best proof that you have that if they're going to get him going or get him coming, it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. This is a sham. This is not the United States of America. This is some third-rate banana republic. If this were happening in another country, we would be laughing at them as a sham democracy. I am ashamed as an American citizen to sit here in a courtroom watching the former leader of the free world, and let's be honest, likely next leader of the free world, sitting with the indignity in this dingy third-rate courtroom with fourth-rate prosecutors and a fifth-rate lawyer on the stand as a witness, who actually is violating attorney-client privilege left and right. Nobody's even talking about that. So this is a shame on the spirit in our country's history, but we will get through it and be stronger because you know who ultimately actually cast the vote on this case? It's not just the jurors in that jury box. It's every one of you at home. It's every American who votes this November to say no to the weaponization of justice. And if you're at home, you may say, you know what, I don't agree with everything Donald Trump's ever said. You know what, I may not agree with some of his policies even though they were great policies for 4 years. But you do agree, whether you are Democrat or Republican or black or white or gay or straight or man or woman, that our justice system should be blind to politics. That regardless of whether your last name is Biden or Trump, regardless of whether you've been a politician or not, you get a fair shake in our own legal system. And when you have a prosecutor who campaigned on the pledge of going after Trump and then keeps his campaign pledge, when you have a judge whose kids are collecting money from Democratic operatives by fundraising off the very trial that judge is presiding over, and then telling the U.S. president that he's subject to a gag order, that he can't talk about it, that is not justice. That is a bastardization of what this country was founded on. And I'm here, and all of us are here as friends of Donald Trump, supporting him in our personal capacity, sharing our opinions. That's why we're here today. But I hope every American at home who isn't able to be in that courtroom is able to see what's actually happening there. And when you do, we will have a landslide of historic proportion this November if every American understands the injustice that's playing out in that courtroom today. So may God bless our country. I pray for our future. And let's pray for our country being stronger on the other side of this disgusting sham politician prosecution. Doug?
So, there you go. Very well spoken. I like Vivek a lot. I really, really do. I like him a lot. And he laid it out there. It is a sham. You know, if we saw what was going on in another country, we'd be like, well, they're really messed up. But no, that's happening here in America right now today. At this very moment. And if it was campaign money being shelled out to the Stormy Daniels to tell her to shut up, it'd be easy. It'd be done deal, right? But no, that's not the case. That is not the case of what happened here. And so just to end, I want to go over this last little bit here. This last little clip of our lovely president. President pooped his pants. And this is what he had to say. Not about Trump or anything in particular, just some words of wisdom.
Got done. And then what we finally got done is to make up for it. They want to give power back to Big Pharma.
Catch that? Here, we'll do it one more time because his words are so powerful and so meaningful that we should hear him again.
They want to undo what they finally got done. And then what we finally got done is to make up for it. They want to give power back to Big Pharma.
They want to undo what they finally got done. And then what we did finally got done to make up for it. They wanted to. They want to give power back to Big Pharma. Sorry. Didn't mean to laugh. But hopefully you have a great week. Pray for the nation. Pray for the country that people will wake up and turn away from the nonsense of what I just played there with Joe Biden. So yeah, hopefully you have a great week. And again, happy Mother's Day last Sunday to all the mothers out there. And I will talk with you next week. Bye-bye.